back again here on the Roundtable program for this Sunday, talking about your relationships in this new year and making them smarter. We want to once again invite you into our conversation where our last segment we were talking about this 6-week program that Heartbeat of Toledo is starting here in Northwest Ohio, giving you the opportunity to better your relationships. And Heartbeat of Toledo, obviously, as Pat Todak was saying earlier in the show, talking about how you started, you've been in operation for decades, but the goal not only to help single moms and make sure that women are making the right choices in their life and in their relationships, but also the men who are with them.
Sure. Yeah, we want them to be involved in that, which is why we have the Just for Dads program running simultaneously with the Relationship Smarts. And I think sometimes...
And this isn't only for couples who get themselves, quote unquote, in trouble, right? Or find themselves like in a bad situation. You guys are reaching out to anybody who thinks they can benefit from this.
Well, actually our class is just for women.
Okay.
So, because that's our focus at Heartbeat. We really focus
outside of what a Don puts on.
Other than, yes, the dad's class, which is a little bit separate. But as part of it, I think every session that they have, they talk to the women that come and say, do you want to have a session where you bring the guys in? Mm-hmm. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. For the most part, they seem to like to just be by themselves. Yeah. Now, we do have a teen class that we also run, and that's for 12 to 17-year-olds that we do in the summer. And we have done that just for girls, and we've done mixed groups as well. The girls gets a better response. Yeah. The young men don't seem to be ready to participate in the class. The times we've done it, they haven't been very communicative.
Well, guys, by definition, don't mature as quickly as women do. So I've been told that for years. But we will move on. Helen Chin also joining us. She is a best-selling author. She joins us via Skype out west right now and right outside of L.A. And Helen, you've traveled the country. You've been all over this country. And the problems with, I guess, making a healthy relationship or making a smarter relationship, let's put it that way, I would assume they're the same all around the country. It's not different for the East. It's not different for the West. It's not different for the Midwest, right?
Yes, it's all same. It's all about the human beings, all about the people. Everybody have the same feelings.
And when you groups of people or when you go out and discuss your book, what are some of the keys to building a stronger, smarter relationship that you give them?
Always want to give. You always want to flow to the people, the good feeling. You want to show your emotion, but you don't want to correct people. You don't want to tell them what to do. You don't want to changing them. You know, a lot of time the woman try to changing the other side, their spouse or their family member or their friends too much. You know, you should let people be themselves and you be yourself, and everybody has their own space and working together. So the really important thing is be yourself and let others be themselves. So you don't try to constantly tell people what to correct or what you're expecting. You just give. Give is better than receiving, and that is a really important part. You concentrate, you love people, and you pay your attention, and you really let them know they are important to you. And I think this is really wonderful.
These next 6 classes over the next 6 weeks, we're talking topics such as my possible self, my values, love or infatuation, 7 principles of a smart relationship, drawing the line of respect. Some of the things we're hearing right there, Karen, but when you put these classes together, obviously there's a focus in mind that there's like one umbrella and there's a lot of different parts under that umbrella.
Well, there is. The whole thing is about how to make sure that you're using those relationship smarts, that you understand what you're looking for. But first you have to understand who you are. And that's where we start with these women is, you know, who am I and what are my values? Because a lot of times...
Why is that so key?
Well, I think a lot of times people just kind of fall into a relationship. There's a physical attraction, or there's a common interest, or there's a something. And then they just kind of fall into a relationship and never really look at, is this even what I was looking for? So we really try to take them back to who is it that I want to be someday, and what relationships am I in? And it's not just with a boyfriend or a spouse or something. It's all the people in their lives. What relationships am I in that are supporting that best self that I want to be?
Are you noticing people who, as a participant, as a volunteer, are you noticing a lot of similarities to the stories you hear? It's like, gosh, I went through that too. That's why I'm here. Or is everybody's tale different?
Well, everybody comes a little different, but yeah, for the most part, you know, I think a lot of what happens is we learn things at home, but we don't know that that's not what we consider to be a healthy relationship. And
you get tunnel vision.
Yeah, and even in today's world where there are so many divorced parents and you know, broken relationships, I think that we just accept things and we think, oh, well, that's normal, and we don't really recognize that maybe it's not normal. Yeah. So I think the class gives you the tools to recognize what should be healthy and what isn't, what you can accept and what you can't.
Let me ask a broad question here, and do outsiders provide, when you're in a situation similar to what you were in, or anybody who comes to you who wants help having a smarter relationship, do outsiders provide, family members, I think outside family members, I would relegate it to that, do they provide a good balance? Do they provide good suggestions? Are they a good resource for advice? She said, you know, she was making the mention of the fact that you don't realize it's a bad situation. Obviously, you're closest to your family, and maybe they see what's going on, but are they always the best judge?
No,
definitely not. Go ahead with that.
Well, no, I mean, I think that everybody's grown up in different situations, and a lot of what we see at Heartbeat are people that have grown up in a single-parent family, and they have seen that their parent, typically the mom, has not been in a healthy relationship, and they don't know what that looks like. They have no idea. And then they'll see their friends, and they're doing the same things. And a lot of times it comes down to, again, it's just self-respect, self-esteem, that they focus in on what they're supposed to do and not what is good for them.
Yeah. Time hasn't changed. We continue to hear the same things about, especially when you're talking to dads. And there is a class, we want to point out, there is a Just for Dads class that runs simultaneously with these classes that are structured for the women. But when you're talking to these dads and trying to make sure, obviously, these are participants. These are guys who want to be there, who want to make themselves better, I would guess.
I would hope, yeah.
But then how do you get that message to spread and get it out to the guys who can't? We hear the same thing when police are trying to talk to the youth and trying to make them understand, one, don't get involved with gangs, don't be involved in violent activities, don't do drugs, don't do alcohol, that kind of thing. But I guess, how do you spread the message? Is that the ultimate task?
Yeah, I think one of the advantages that we have at Mercy with Positive Choice is that we go into the schools, and we have access to different schools that we go into and teach about healthy relationships, decision making, all those kinds of things, and so it's kind of an advantage for us to do that. But when we're talking about working with fathers, young men who have already had children, you know, it's kind of hard because, you know, we can sit around and talk about football, we can talk about all these things that we're used to talking about, but when it comes down to real, you know, getting down to the root of really things that's going on, you know, in life, whether we're dealing with, whether it's, being laid off from work or, you know, real life things, it's hard to do that, especially in a room full of men, because there's a lot of pride that takes place there.
I'm glad you said that, because we have heard so many times, so many of the last few years, so many of the problems, issues that have come up have been linked to the economy. And do you guys find that it is a legitimate connection to sometimes when these relationships go awry?
Well, yeah, there's the reality. I mean, there's a lot of stress in a lot of these people's lives, and that's the reality of the situation.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. So it's a lot to deal with, and a lot of our clients that come in don't have a lot of support. So it's a matter of putting those pieces, you know, together that are the reality of their lives, while they're also dealing with the relationships.
I want to show people at home, we promised we'd give the information as far as the classes are concerned. And Pat, as you watch, you can talk us through a little bit as far as those classes. They start up this Thursday, the 17th, every Thursday for the next 6 weeks, correct?
Right. It's going to be, and it's 5 to 6:30. I couldn't remember. We just changed the time.
Yeah.
It is a free program, but we do ask people register. They can give us a call at Heartbeat. The number is 419-241-9131. Now that's up there too. They can also go to our website. There is a link on the latest news page that gives the information on this program, and we also have information on our Facebook page as well, which is also Heartbeat of Toledo.
And it's called Relationship Smarts, and you saw the address there. You have 2 locations, but this is at your main office, correct?
Yes, our one on West Sylvania Avenue. We're right across from Westfield Franklin Park Mall.
And from years past when you've done this, what kind of crowd do you get? What kind of participation do you get?
You want to answer that one?
It varies.
Yeah.
It varies. The first one I did, I had 15 people signed up, and 10 people came, and they came every week, and it was consistent. Other times, you know, we've had less consistent attendance.
Yeah.
It really varies. It really does help if that's why we need people to register. We need to know how many to expect. There are success stories, I think, and Ellen mentioned, you know, taking the materials home, and I've had a number of people say that. I look at my folder, I went back through it again and reminded myself of those things, and I think
these are just
people have
like
used it.
little bullet points for people to remember, that kind of thing?
Just
or?
Questions.
Yeah, they're worksheets that, you know, you have the option of doing or not, but you know, it's helpful to take that out and refer back to that and say, am I on track? Is my life going where I want it to go? Am I reminding myself of these positive things, you know, about myself?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times these women, they lack self-esteem and they don't see the positive about themselves, because if no one's telling you the positive and you're not looking at that yourself, of course, you don't see that.
Yeah. Helen Chin joining us once again from Los Angeles, California via Skype this afternoon. And Helen, as we get ready to end this segment, and obviously you've got this bestseller, why do you think your book's a bestseller?
Well, I'm talking a lot of idea and the philosophy is never people actually used before, but that's very important, such as you should date after you marry and dating the rest of your life. And you're free because you get married and you understand how the importance of the relationship in your life. It's very important to take in class, to join the class and improve yourself. And then I do encourage people so much to improve yourself, to getting better relationship, and it's worth to do it in your life.
Book is called The Matchmaker of the Century, and I assume you're talking about dating your spouse and continue to have dates, correct?
Yes, the rest of your life.
Just in case that struck anybody strange there, I wanted to make sure we got that clarification. All of you, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to talk about this, and obviously if you want more information, you can go to heartbeatoftoledo.org and read up on those classes which start up on the 17th. Helen, thank you so much for joining us via Skype.
Thank you, everybody.
You bet. Continued good luck to you. And once again, Matchmaker of the Century is the name of the book. We wrap things up for this Sunday right after this.